Just over a year ago, the British Parliament introduced new laws intended to protect historic monuments after a flurry of Black Lives Matter and anti-slavery protests raised important questions about our histories and how we should remember them. In Bristol, for instance, protesters pulled down the statue of the slave trader Edward Colston 2 years ago as part of a global mobilization against structural racism sparked by the murder of George Floyd in Minneapolis. Those who toppled Colston were not seeking to forget all about him, but they wanted to know why this evil git continued to be venerated. I mean, why the hell should we put up with statues of the so-called great and good when you realize that many of them represent the injustices and ongoing legacies of slavery, empire, and colonialism? They are often celebrations of figures whose views and actions were cruel and disgusting, even back in the day when they were first erected. Do we really want to be reminded of the social inequalities that continue to structure our societies? Why should we continue to have the statues of slave traders, warmongering colonialists, and nasty politicians staring down at us from their mighty plinths as we go about our daily business? People around the world have got really steamed up about these imperialistic statues. And in London, laws have been passed, as I said before, to protect these loathsome individuals until all countries from east to west address the deep historical roots of the inequalities that create culture wars and an us and them situation. The problem will continue, and debates over the positioning and future of statues in our cities and town centres will continue to rage. However, the good people of Glasgow, just up the road from where I live, sorted out this dilemma a long time ago. The horse-backed first Duke of Wellington, Arthur Wellesley, is regularly mocked and derided in a fashion that only comes with a Scottish sense of humour. Instead of pulling down the equestrian statue outside the Gallery of Modern Art, the Duke is forced to wear a traffic cone on his bonce. Depending on what is happening in the news, the traffic cone has been known to change to reflect political times. As a wee bit of floral propaganda a couple of years ago, a traffic cone adorned in flowers was put on the Duke's head. But just recently, some wags stacked 9 cones on both his and his horse's head, while a custom-made Urn Brew cone was, I said Urn Brew, Iron Brew cone, was created by mystery pranksters who were protesting against the reduced sugar content of Scotland's famous drink. As soon as city council workers remove the cone, the Duke usually sports another one within 24 hours. It's an act of defiance, resistance, and a symbol of Glaswegians' unique sense of humour. The cone has now become iconic. When Scotland's women's national football team played in the last World Cup, the Duke sported a pink football shirt, blonde wig, and Scottish flag. Cone capping the 1844 statue, which was originally erected to commemorate Wellington's victory over Napoleon in the Battle of Waterloo, has become an iconic act. Glasgow City Council did consider plans 10 years or so ago to raise the height of the statue's plinth to curb the practice of placing the cone on its head, but they were quickly withdrawn after widespread outrage from Glaswegians. Today, if you pop into Glasgow city centre, you will find the Duke sporting a new cone, showing sympathy, solidarity and support to the people of Ukraine. I take my hat off to the genius behind this latest capping ceremony. Bless you, Glaswegians. So, if you want to know who is to blame for Russia's war in Ukraine, whatever you do, do not ask Russian Orthodox Patriarch Kirill. According to Putin's hate preacher, the West essentially organizes genocidal campaigns against countries that refuse to stage gay parades. In other words, scapegoat the gay community yet again. After all, it's not the first time folk from the LGBT communities have been blamed for anything from war to pestilence, disease, earthquakes and hurricanes. To be fair, the fault doesn't lie with all clergy or mad dictators, but Putin is on record as being a homophobe, and many conservative evangelicals have equally claimed such similar views. Claiming floods such as the one that followed Hurricane Katrina in 2005 was God's punishment for homosexuality. I have a feeling Patriarch Kirill will need some strong smelling salts when this summer's gay parades and pride marches roll out in the West, because I bet some fashionistas are already drawing up elaborate costumes, not unlike the ceremonial gown and hat worn by Putin's angry priest. Watch this space. Crikey Mikey, apparently Russia is turning to TikTok, using videos with cats, puppies, and a pulsing, beating background. It's the latest state propaganda being rolled out by the Kremlin, we're told. The Russians are even using cuddly toys and humor as a weapon. I mean, just how low can you get? Obviously, I felt duty bound to go onto TikTok to see if I could spot armies of Russian trolls and bots stirring up anti-Ukrainian sentiment. I didn't see a great deal, to be honest, but I did find something sinister from Anonymous saying that they're out to get Putin. Gosh. But also I did find these images of people urging the British Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, to respect their sovereignty and give them independence, liberty, and freedom. I think they're calling him a count, which is rather confusing because his title is British Prime Minister. Maybe I misheard.